Okay, so this is Brent Chaika on behalf of SPG, and we are interviewing Sarah Bazinet,
Yeah, Sarah Bazinet.
local performer. So let's begin. So my first question, a very simple one. How long have you been performing?
So I've only ever performed with my band, and our first gig was July 31st, 2021. So just about 3 years now. So yeah, it's been a blast. It's been a full of ups and downs. We've got an album out. We've got new stuff in the works. So we've gotten a chance to do all kinds of different types of performances, and it's been really awesome.
It's great. I wish I had time to ask you more details about your album. What would you say got you into the whole music scene?
Well, I've always been a huge music fan. And then I've always kind of felt drawn to the drums, but they're not the most accessible instrument. You know, they take up a lot of space. They're expensive and they're loud. And until very recently, electronic drums weren't really a thing. So as soon as I had the opportunity to, I got myself a set of drums, and that was in 2018. And I kind of just didn't look back. I jumped as soon as I could. I jumped right into it because it's been something I've wanted to do. And I've tried guitar, I've tried bass, like I've tried other things, but the drums always spoke to me and called to me. And other than maybe piano, I wouldn't mind getting into just to learn some music theory. But other than that, the drums are kind of what have always stood out to me in songs, and I've always had that desire to play them. So I just did when I got the chance.
Hey, fair enough. So drummer then. You're a drummer. Okay. Who or what would you say your musical influences are?
More, I would say not necessarily so many who's, but I've always been influenced and always loved rock. Growing up, listening to bands like, CCR and Nazareth and April Wine and Aerosmith and that kind of stuff. And then as I grew up, like Led Zeppelin, right? Like those drums and stuff, those stood out to me. So those types of things, they kind of caught my attention at a young age. And then as I got older, I started kind of diving into a little bit of newer stuff, newer rock, a little heavier maybe. And I always found the things that stood out to me the most were songs that had like really cool kind of funky tom grooves and stuff like that. I really, really loved when I discovered System of a Down and like Primus and bands like that, because they're just like so different from what I was used to hearing. So that kind of stuff really stood out to me, and I think it's influenced me, but I can't say I've ever tried to like mimic any one person's style or anything like that. I play really more kind of with feeling, and I kind of just let things develop as they go. So.
Fair enough. Does being a northerner help shape you as an artist? And how?
Yeah, I think it does. I'm not sure exactly how much it influences me musically, but I do feel like our environment inherently influences us in every aspect of our lives. And so it's definitely come out in things like my paintings and my writings and stuff like that, because I do art in all different kinds of mediums. So being a northerner is definitely influenced my art. Our daily lives are affected a little differently by nature in the north, and nature definitely has a big influence on my art. I connect to its beauty, and I represent that through a lot of my paintings and things like that. But on the flip side, I find that like there's a lot of northerners, I'm sure I speak for many of us, who deal with like seasonal affective disorder and stuff like that, right? That I lived in Southern Ontario for about 17 years, and it did not affect me like it does up here, where it's not like a very drastic difference. So I've expressed a lot of those thoughts and feelings through some paintings and poems and stuff like that as well. So I would say it's definitely shaped me as an artist as a whole.
Understood. That makes a lot of sense. And the final question, what do you think makes for an unforgettable performance, a perfect show?
I did put some thought into this because as a performer, I've only really performed as a drummer, so I'm part of a group, and a great show, like my band Restored, I gotta say their name.
All right.
We're a rock band, right? And we're 4-piece, and I find that a really great show is when we, like when I have the time to kind of get out of my own head for a moment and just feel the music, and I can just play, and I don't have to, I get in my head a lot. I'm my own worst enemy and my own worst critic, right? So I find that I feel the best after a gig where I was able to kind of just feel the music, play along with the energy, and look at my bandmates, and we're laughing and we're having fun, and there's just a good energy on stage. And then when you look at the crowd and they're dancing and they're laughing and they're having a blast, they're cheering for you afterwards, and then there's that one like really great feeling where you see people singing along to your songs. Like that's a totally different feeling altogether. So when we get off stage and people are telling us how much they loved our original music and how awesome we are, and I get shout outs sometimes for being a girl drummer and things like that. So those things just feel great, and those are the performances that I walk away from feeling good, like, and happy.
That's wonderful. I wish we had more time, but sadly we don't. It was a pleasure speaking with you, Sarah.
You too. Thanks so much.
Thank you for your time. Good night.
Night.